When Lance was first born, he was pretty much just like any other little guy. He rolled over and he laughed and smiled and he walked and talked all right on schedule. Things started to change when Lance was about 18 months old. He had about 5 words and he stopped speaking entirely. And I think that at that time, I think we really grieved for the boy that we thought we had lost and also for the future that he might not have.
The first year, it really was kind of normal. I know that developmental milestones, you know, the new-time parents and asking a lot of questions, you know, comparing the children with other kids, my child, he met all of it. And the pediatrician seemed to say, okay, you're doing a good job. You know, when I'm told by a pediatrician that everything is normal, you just kind of believe.
When my children were about 4, they were in a community parks program, and I went to pick them up, and I got them a little bit early. So I walked over and I kind of hid behind a tree to see how they were doing. And it was really difficult because I stood behind the tree and I watched probably the 12 to 15 other kids all playing Red Rover, and I saw my kids standing alone on the side. And I wanted it to be different for my kids. I wanted them to be accepted. I wanted them to be included. Most of all, I wanted them to be happy.
Siempre quería estar solo. Su único instrumento que quería era un pequeño piano que tenía. Esa era su única compañía. No existía ni mamá, ni papá, nadie más que su piano. Pues lo primero que hice fue llorar y sentarme y decir, ¿qué hago? ¿A dónde voy?
SARRC is a place for families and children, a place for educators and physicians, a place for this community to better understand what autism means and what it doesn't, a place to learn, a place to grow, a place to become engaged. SARRC is the first place a family often turns for hope and for help, to know that these kids can learn, they can grow, they can make progress, and that there is a vision for the future.
I think one of the areas that makes us most unique is our involvement of parents in the intervention process. Rather than having the kids just dropped off at our center, we are working directly with parents to implement intervention directly with their children.
SARRC helped in so many ways. We did some programs right off the bat that were parent training programs that helped us help Lance. So we worked on his communication and his behavior, and the change in Lance was immediate and really amazing to see.
There's something magical that's been happening here, and whatever that they're doing, it's working.
Autism has many faces. There are many different expressions of autism that vary among individuals with the disorder. And I've said this many times where I could say you can line up 10 individuals with autism and I can point to the differences among all of them, but yet they all have the same disorder. So we're starting to realize that autism is not really one disorder, but a collection of very complex disorders. If we can identify subgroups, if we're dealing with less variability in the individuals, the easier it is to identify genes that might underlie different components of the disorder or the whole disorder itself in that small subgroup, and we might be able to identify the proteins that are associated with those behaviors.
It is only through the rigorous scientific evaluation of the causes of autism, the ways in which it comes about, and the potential cures for it that we'll ever make headway in that condition. It is up to the scientists of the world in general, and to us here at SARRC, to each do our bit in making sure we can chip away and finally come up with the answers that so many parents pray for.
We need answers, we need them now, but they're challenging ones. When we're dealing with autism, we're likely dealing with multiple disorders. There's no easy answer, there's no quick fix, there's nothing that's going to make it all go away. And we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared for this tidal wave, this tsunami of individuals with autism who are growing up, and we need to be able to care for them.
We want to first establish communication in our kids with autism and our very young kids with autism so that they're able to communicate with their parents, family members, eventually their peers, make friends, be able to have healthy social relationships, go on to have a job, work out in the community, and really contribute to the society and to our community.
Our vision for our Vocational Life Skills Academy is to provide individuals with meaningful jobs and rewarding careers that promote just enriching experiences and a meaningful life.
Just recently, I had a family who took their son to see the new vocational center. And they said to me, you know what, when we walked into that center, we just cried. We couldn't believe it. We couldn't actually believe that there was going to be hope for our son. We knew there was lots to offer for the younger children, but we couldn't actually believe that anyone would take the time and put in the effort to make sure that our teenage son is going to have a bright future as well.
The SARRC teens, I think, have learned so much from this program. I mean, first of all, this was a real job. I mean, they had to be there on time. They had to listen to directions. They had to follow directions, and they did it. So I think it was very beneficial to them to find out how to work in a group, what the job environment is all about, and at the end of the day, there was always a pile of accomplishments there, and they could actually see really what they did accomplish and how beneficial it was to the garden.
Think of the first time you got your first job, the first job you've ever had, and the feeling you had. And these kids come to work with that feeling every single day. Not just the first time they come to work for you, but every day. And there's nothing more rewarding than that in the whole world.
My children were on the sidelines because they didn't know how to include themselves with the other children. The wonderful thing that we've seen is every year we continue to progress. Every year there's new discoveries, new therapies, new opportunities, and we've really seen our children come so far, and we expect them to continue to succeed in the future.
From the moment that a person received the call and the calming voice saying, "You're not alone, we'll help you," and all the questions, all the fears that I had were lifted.
They gave us our boy back, you know. They gave us hope for the future. I think they really saved our family, I really do.
El futuro para Leo yo lo miro grande. Así como me decían que él nunca me iba a abrazar para darme un beso, él ahora me besa. Yo sé que él es muy inteligente. Está todo guardado, que de repente esa cajita que tiene la va a abrir un día y pues va a decir, mamá, aquí estoy.
We need to be better prepared as our children with autism become adults with autism. We need communities that support them. We need jobs, both for pay and volunteer, where they can be productive. We need places where they can be safe. We need homes that will be there for them when their parents are no longer able to care for them. That's what keeps us up at night as parents, is who's going to care for these kids when we're not able to do so. That's what drives me. That's what drives my hope. That's what drives my passion, is recognizing that Matthew will be here someday and I will not. And I don't want him to be a huge burden on his sister's life or on other people's lives, because he does have ability, and so many of our kids do. They can contribute to this community, and they are. And I couldn't be more proud of SARRC for helping us demonstrate what these individuals with autism add to the very fabric of our community, bringing out the best in all of us, giving these kids and these adults a chance, and that's what we're asking for.